Hello and welcome to Hobby Vlog number 205. This week's been a good one. I've done a lot of painting. I've had a lot of fun on my painting booth. Not all of it will make this vlog, but yeah, I'm painting through some Blood and Plunder miniatures and doing a full painting video, but I'm not putting that in the vlog, so that's been really enjoyable. But also been working on various other projects, including some getting ready for Christmas. Now, I know that it's only November, but we need to get these finished and done for the 1st of December. So yeah, we're getting started on our Christmas projects now, and I've got a few more that will be coming up in the next week. Now, I do want to mention, I am running a friendly let's get stuff done before the end of the year, finish the year strong competition, challenge, inspiration, whatever. Details of that will be on the screen while I'm speaking now. I've got 14 or 15 people who have said they're going to take part, and I had a really cool shout out from Zero, from Zero's Hobbies. I will link to the video as well now. It was really cool, so thank you so much, Zero. Appreciate that. It's really cool that that's inspired you, and there's various other people that seem to be quite inspired as well, including myself. So I'm doing pretty well. I will give us a summary at the end of the video of where I'm up to in my challenge, but yeah, it's really nice to see so many taking part. And if any of you want to, then please, all you need to do is say yes me, and then send me pictures to the email address on screen, and I will put them in the summary video that will be coming out towards the beginning of next year. Anyway, enough rambling. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you again at the end. I popped out just now and bought some glue sticks. So what I'm going to be able to do is stick these little posters on. And then, like I said, oh, clonk, I just kicked something behind me. Like I said, I will then use some varnish to seal the whole model. So I've pressed it onto the Pritt stick, as I call it, though it's not Pritt stick, it is Talentus, whatever that is. And that will now stick to the side. So I've got loads of these to put in. I'm going to just stick them around all over the place. Like so, and it will add a little bit of flavour to the model, and hopefully they'll stay stuck. So there we are. So I'm going to sit and do this. I won't film it all because it's going to be very similar to what you're seeing now. There we are, the Pony Express. Yeah, so I'm going to stick a load more of these on, make it really attractive and varied, and I'll show what it looks like when it's done, and that will be the last thing that I'm doing, which is pretty exciting, to be honest. So I've realised there's something I need to do before I do any painting, so I was about to start the painting, and that is the middle floor doesn't have a floor, and I also want to put a floor onto the inside of the bottom, so I need to make 2 floors. So what I've got here is some very thick card, and I can fit the 2 sections onto one piece of this. So I'm going to cut it out, which I'm going to do off camera because it's going to be very noisy, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to draw around the inside of each section, and I'm going to use air dry clay and a roller to roller in something very similar to that, the flagstones. So the first thing to do is going to be to cut this solid cardboard out, and then oh, got a light flickering, and then draw the square in, draw the inside dimensions. And once I've done that, I'll bring you back. We will have a look at how I get to do the air dry clay. And when that's done, then I'll be able to glue it to the base of each of these, and then we'll get to painting. Right, so that's the size. I've got some of my air dry clay out. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to roll it flat. I haven't done this for a very long time. And then I'm going to make use of my Green Stuff World rollers to put the texture in. So, and I hear Rosie on the stairs, so I'm going to stop recording. 1 second. It is now hours later. Rosie came up the stairs, and very shortly after that I was in the car, and we went to the circus and had a great time, and we've just got back. She's now in bed. So just got back. We got back. She's had some dinner and gone to bed, and it's now in the evening. And so now I can get back to doing this. Not that I'm complaining, because it was great fun. But yeah, that was quite funny. So I'm going to roll all this out, as I was saying, and then make use of my flagstone roller from Green Stuff World to get some texture on it. And yeah, hopefully this is going to work. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't, I suppose. But yeah, so I'll get this out smooth and flat. It's nearly there now. Yep, that's going to go over. Good. So we'll get that like that. And what I'm actually going to do is, I've just thought what I actually need to do really is to be able to find that edge. I might need to extend these lines to the bottom so I can see them, and then what I can do is I can come along and I can cut just outside of them, because I want to have a little bit on the outside. Cut exactly along them even, and then that will leave this as being the only one that has the texture, and then I can cut it a little bit bigger around the outside to glue it on to the bottom of the board. So I'll just quickly get that done, and then what we'll be doing is getting some PVA glue. I'm going to say it again, I've said it, and every time I use this, do remember that air dry clay is not adhesive, so it will just dry and then it will fall off. So yeah, you need to realise that if you're going to be using this stuff, that you need to put some glue or something else to actually hold it in place onto whatever you want to stick it to. There we are. So I'll get this done, I'll turn the camera back on and I'm sticking it down. Alright, so I've lined that. So what I'm going to do now is just spread some PVA glue out over the top of these squares. That will, as I say, mean that the air dry clay actually adheres to it. And the reason I've got the clamps, if you're wondering about that is to prevent this whole thing from bowing and warping too terribly. Now it will almost certainly warp a bit, but it shouldn't cause too much problems actually if I keep it clamped, and I'm going to put more clamps along the edge here. I've just got those 4 on for now just to allow me better access. If I put lots of clamps here, I'd be knocking my hand against them, it'd be annoying. So put a thin skim of PVA over both. Obviously I'll have to roll her out some more for that one, probably. And then what we'll do is we'll put this down on top, and we'll get our roller out. It's going to be wide enough, that's good. And we just roller it. So you just press in nicely, nice and even. Like that. There we are. And then, as I say, let me get a tool for cutting the air dry clay. What we'll do is we can hold our knife, ruler. It's been a really hectic day today, which is why I sound a bit exhausted. It's because I am. Managed to break down in Angela's car, and then unfortunately one of our puppies, Thelma, she's 8 years old, is currently with the emergency vet, having an emergency operation, and is being kept in overnight, and we've got to go and collect her in the morning, and we're both very concerned about her. Hopefully we caught this sickness in time, but if you're wondering why I sound a little distracted, it's because I've got a lot on my mind. Anyway, we can cut this, and then that is that, and I can leave that to dry overnight, and then in the morning we'll check whether it's worked or not. Because while it's looking okay now, it might not work, but it's worth a try. If it doesn't work, we'll come up with something else. There we are. So I will do the other one in exactly the same way, and I'll bring you back tomorrow when we check to see whether it's worked or not. There we are. I'm sure it will, but we never know. Right, that was a bit of a ummy and ahhry and quiet and loud segment, but that kind of reflects what's going on in my head. I'll finish this one up, bring you back tomorrow to show what it looks like. Well, there we are, that worked really well, and those glue sticks were brilliant and really stuck it on nicely. But I was muttering to myself about the fact that there was nothing to say that this was the bunkhouse, and I decided to use some of the stickers that I had for down here, up here, to make it look not quite so odd, because that's the bunkhouse extension. And then I found that there were stickers. There are things to cut out. So I'm going to cut these out and do exactly the same thing, scatter them all over it, and then here we are, we have our Rogan's bar and bunkhouse. So I need to, I believe, put that in there, yeah, maybe make a few changes to basically I think I need to change that, and then I'll scatter some of the rest of these all over the rest of it. But it's looking really nice. I'm really pleased with it. I have decided that I'm almost certainly going to base this as well, so that's going to add to the length of time before this project is completed. I was thinking this was going to be the last thing, but basically we have the sidewalk, which is separate, and that will just annoy me. I will always want the sidewalk, so I'm going to base it. But more, we have the back steps which lead up to the back door, and so yeah, I'm just going to want to have that stuck in place so that it's not moving around. So I am going to base it, which is going to add a little bit of time to it. But hey, it'll be okay. I've got all these little steps as well, so yeah, it's just going to be annoying if I don't. So I'm going to get these stickers done, and then we're going to start looking at basing it. I cut them out and I've stuck most of them on, not all of them, but I'm pretty pleased with how that looks, and I'm really pleased with this building. I mean, it sat untouched for a little bit, which delayed its finishing up to this stage. And now, of course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these actually in place, so they're a little bit, so it just is one whole building, which is what I want to do. So I'll just cut a base that is very, very slightly larger than I need. I'm not going to go crazy on this, but as you can see, it is going to make a difference to, I need to pull that down to there. It is going to make a difference to how well this looks, and yeah, I think it's worthwhile spending a bit of time getting this done, getting this in place. So yeah, so I'm gonna get that. That'll be the next thing you see of this. But for now, this is good. Apart from I'm going to varnish over the top of these. Just going to matte varnish the outside, but I'll do that. I'll do that off camera and just show what it looks like. So yeah, pretty happy with that. That's been a good build, and really wish I'd got more foreground stuff. I don't even know if you can get this anymore. I know that a company bought foregrounds kit, because I bought this in the fire sale when foreground went out of business, and I know that someone, apparently a company did, but I'm not entirely sure how reputable and reliable they are. I need to look into it and see if I know anyone who's ordered from them and had success, because this is awesome, and I might be tempted to buy some more. But anyway, there we are, onwards. My ground floor's been glued together. I'm umming and ahhing at the moment about what I'm going to paint the outside of this, because when this is going to be glued in place, you can actually see some of that kind of poking out there. So I need to put some colour on that. So I'm umming and ahhing about that, but that's not a rush. I don't need to make that decision just yet. You can see that my overlapping sides has worked well. So what I need to do now is carefully run my blade down and cut away the overhang. And then what I'll do is I'll paint all the wood bits with my brown paint that I've been using, the same wood paint as I use for these. And I'll paint these, all the extra wooden bits that I've added, and I'll paint in that brown. And then we'll get to the grout. But I'll do the grout all as one. So I've got this base one done. I haven't yet started sticking the first floor together. As you can see, it's still in bits. But I'll do that next in exactly the same way, with the overhangs, etc., to mask over these the edges of the other boards. And when I've got everything up to the same stage and painted with the brown, I'll bring it back and show what it looks like. But yeah, we're rapidly coming to conclusion on this, and I've had a lot of fun with it. The next Moonstone mini I'm going to paint up is actually two. Is Voth and Homunculus. Now these were some exclusives that were released in the previous Kickstarter. I've heard rumours that they may be available again in the current one in the Pledge Manager, but I'm not convinced or not totally sure about that. But yeah, so Voth and Homunculus, they're pretty cool. If you have a little look, Homunculus is a little goblin that, one second, get him out of his bag, there we are, with a book on his back, which is pretty cool. Oh, there we are, there it is, got that in shot. And then Voth is a much bigger character, big giant of a man, over what's it, and they go together. So I am going to get these cleaned up. I'm going to scrub them a lot in boiling hot water with soap, make sure I get in all the nooks and crannies, really focus on it, because these miniatures, as beautiful as they are, the mould release agent which Goblin King Games use in their casting process is kryptonite to paint, and if you don't get it off, then your paint will just fall off, and you'll spend ages and ages trying to paint these things, just because the paint is all retreating away and coming away. So they need a really good wash. The good thing is they don't really need any other cleanup, because they are beautifully cast, and there's very little that needs to be cleaned up at all on any of them, if anything. So I'll get that done, and yeah, hot water, soap, so washing up liquid or dish soap depending on which side of the Atlantic you're from, and I use an old toothbrush, but you can use a toothbrush or an old paintbrush or whatever you wish, and make sure you scrub away and get into all of the little nooks and crannies, otherwise you will regret it. So I'll get that done, get them primed, show you what that looks like, and then we'll get to painting. Alright, so that's all solid. This should now be solid. As you can see, I use clamps to keep it together, which always a good idea. Yep, so that's nicely solid. So what we'll now do is let's just make sure I've not really badly screwed up. No, that goes together really nicely. Look at that. There we are. So that's the two levels. So the thing I need to do next, two things. Firstly, I'm going to paint all of the wood details in the dark brown. So that's one thing I'm going to do. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the roof. So the roof, as you've seen, I painted up in the nice brick red, and I'm going to try to, but I'm probably going to come back with some hints and tips as to which bit goes where, because it's, again, the instructions aren't massively clear. So yeah, I think that might be useful. So when I come to do that, I'll probably film a little bit more. What I have done, I've painted up these little details here, and I didn't know where they went because they're not mentioned in the instructions. But if you actually have a look at the picture on the kind of on the packet, you can see that they're going here, and one can presume there, but they're not actually, that I can see, mentioned in the instructions anywhere. So I just thought I'd highlight that. And once all that's done, then obviously we've got the this here, which I also need to paint. I've realised I haven't painted that, which is a bit silly. So yes, I've got a few things I'm going to get done now in terms of the assembly and also the pimping process, and I'll bring you back, like I say, probably while I'm doing the roof, because I think it's going to be quite important to get that right, and it might be useful for people to see exactly which bit goes where. But that is looking wonderful. It's not far off. I'm probably not going to base this any more than it is now, so I'm probably going to leave this freestanding. I'm not going to put a surround base on it. So yeah, once I've done this and have finished with all of the pimping, then this will be done. So hopefully it'll be done in the next couple of days. Anyway, let's get to it. Oh, I'm really pleased because that worked out perfectly, as you can see. I've done a little bit on this before I turned the camera on, because I just wanted to have a think. And what I've done is I've drawn around the outside of this side so I can see the extent, and I'm trying to work out how I'm going to mount it. My thought is that I'm going to mount it by trying to cut around so the base is actually up against the edge of all of this. So basically you're going to have a layer of cardboard showing, but I'm obviously going to be I'm going to be cutting it, going to be painting it, so that shouldn't be a problem. But it is a little bit of a fiddly one. There's these if I can get this to show, it's kind of stepped here, and so that's going to be a bit fiddly to cut. This is very hard cardboard, so I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to manage that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out and try to achieve that. So I'm going to cut this one out to go as the middle floor. The base is obviously going to be a bit easier. What I can do is just cut around in a square and then put a little bit of base material around it. So that's far easier for me to solve. It's this one that's difficult. So yeah, no warping, dried fine, stuck to the cardboard well. All I need to do now is take these clamps off and cut each one out. This one I need to be a little bit more aware of because I'm going to keep the surround. I'm only going to do a couple of centimetres either side. So I'll just cut that out and stick this to the cardboard. And this one is going to be a little bit more complicated because now I've unclipped it, I can show you a little bit better what that line around looks like. You can see it's very kind of fussy and fiddly, but I'll give it a go. So I'll get my knife, slice this in half, cut this across here, get rid of that, I don't need that. There we are. And we'll see what we can do with cutting this out and getting these attached onto each of these sections, and then it'll be pretty excitingly time to paint. So yeah, pretty happy with how that's worked out. It really has turned out fine. Well, that was much easier than I expected. It's only been a couple of minutes. What I did was I just sat down with my hobby knife rather than the sharp craft knife, which is going to give me a little bit more of a detailed cut, and that worked really well. So what we have, the easy one, the base one, I've cut and shaped the corners a little bit, and I will glue that down. And this one is very nearly perfect. Now there's a couple of bits that you can see here that I need to tidy up that are overhanging where I misunderstood my cut lines, but that's not going to take me too long. So let me just show you how easy it was for me to cut this. Hopefully you can see. Let's get that zoomed in slightly. There we are. So just multiple gentle cuts, and there we are. You can see that this knife does this perfectly. So what I've got is just out of shot here, just out of shot. I'll zoom back out in a second when I finish doing this cutting. What I've got is some PVA glue. I'm going to use PVA to stick it down. I think that should be sufficient. Once I've finished doing this, I actually don't need to do that now. I can probably do that after I've glued it down as well. And what I'm going to do is PVA on the edges here, like so. So I'll get that done. I'm also trying to get PVA just on the edge of the air dry clay as well, because that will potentially touch the plastic, and that's worthwhile having a little bit of extra security there. There we are, so that's done. And then what I can do, apologies for the sound of sanding in the background. Builders are working on my workshop, which I can't wait for them to finish. We'll put some weights on, like so, and leave that to dry for several hours. So I will do basically the same idea over here, but on this one I'm going to apply the glue to the plastic because I don't have quite such an easy way of knowing where to put the glue as I did on the first one. And I will also use weights and glue it down to that base. So when that's done and dried, we'll come back and look at priming and painting, and also doing the base now as well, which is something I wasn't aware I was going to do. So yeah, well, I'll bring you back very shortly when that's all dried and show you the next step. Alright, thanks to Ian Haygreen for commenting on my vlog last week and kicking me into gear to not just shrug and put up with this not looking perfect, but to do something about it. So what I'm going to do is I've got different colours of flock. Now I am really running out of flock here. I really need to get some more made. But I've got some different colours of flock, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tone down the colours on this because that is way too much, and I'm also going to put a little bit of different colours onto the actual hay as well, onto the wall, onto the hedge even. So I'm even going to make use of some of my shop bought ones as some variety. and we're just going to see whether we can bring all of this up a little bit better and not run out of flock in the process. And then I'm really going to have to make some more. So yeah, I know I keep saying that, I keep putting it off. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue over the hay, like so, not everywhere. And then we will scatter flock onto it. And then the last day of this is tomorrow. So I've got to enter it by the end of the 31st, and it is the 30th. So hopefully this will give me time to get this done, have it dry overnight, and then seal it tomorrow, and then photograph it. Hopefully it'll be done. I've left it a little bit fine, left it a little bit close. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully it will add enough variety to be noticeable. And will really help these to pop. So I probably won't film all of it because it's just going to be very much a lot like this. Adding glue, adding flock, adding glue, adding flock. I might do it in smaller patches of glue because that all soaked in very fast. So yeah, we're just going to do this. I won't film it all like I say, and then I'll show what it looks like when it's done, and hopefully it'll be worth it. I think it will, and thank you again, Ian. That's those sorts of comments where you're like, it really does make you look at yourself, are very, very welcome by me. And I was being lazy, which would be a shame after all the effort I put into this. Right, I'll bring you back when it's all finished, show what it looks like when it's done. I want to say that took me about 3 hours, but I'm not entirely sure what time I started, but it's now 11 PM, just after, and I'm exhausted. However, I've got them all done. I managed to get a before and after shot, which I'll try to remember to, well, I haven't got the after shot yet, because it's not dried, but I got a before shot, so I'll get a before and after, and do a comparison. But yeah, even while it's still not dry, that has made such a big difference to the realism and how they look. So once again, thank you very much for the comment, and yeah, I was cursing you a little bit because it was very tiresome, very boring, and it took a long time. But good things are worth, you know, something that's worth doing is worth doing right, and I'm very, very pleased now that I've done that. I think that's just a massive, massive improvement. And now I'm going to go to bed. And what I now need to do is do another whole coat of PVA, watered down PVA over a lot of them to seal them off, because it's yeah, because you always need to put one more coat of PVA than you do of the scatter. But I'm really, really pleased with how that looks. I think that the changes to the basing has worked really well. I think that there's enough colour in the bottom just to bring out little highlights, but mostly it looks just like scattered flowers rather than before where it looked like a meadow. And certainly adding in the different coloured flocks has made a huge difference. So thank you again, Ian. Really appreciate you calling out. And really, if you see something in one of my videos and you think, hang on a minute, it'd be better to do it like this, don't hesitate to comment, because I do listen to my comments and I do really appreciate those sorts of suggestions. They can make the difference between a good build and a really nice build. And I'm starting to actually really like these now, where before I just looked at them and thought, meh. Now I look at them and go, that's pretty good. And that is because of you, Ian, so thank you. So yeah. Right, just before taking Rosie to school, so I'm going to get a couple of these done. I'm in a bit of a rush, so I'm going to stop recording and start slapping the PVA on, and I'll show you what it looks like when they're all dried, because that will be them done. So I've assembled Voth and Homunculus, easy for me to say, and I'm just looking at basing them. Now I've decided that I'm actually going to do something I don't often do. I've got some milliput, I've just mixed it up, and I'm actually going to put milliput onto the base before I do anything else, like so. I've had quite a lot of trouble with the last couple of ones I've done for, need to mix some more up, the last couple of Moonstone miniatures I've done, with when I'm trying to base it, the slotter isn't the same width as the actual slot, which then means that it doesn't really like to accept any basing material, and it falls through and makes it a bit of a pain. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, and I'll mix up homunculuses in a minute, but I'll just put some milliput in there. Get that eyelash or beard hair out of here. There we are. Yeah, so I'll mix up homunculuses next, but yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Fill in the gap with a bunch of milliput, and then that will make it easier for me when I come to basing it. So I'll let them go off, and then I'll prime it, and then we'll do some painting. Well, here we are again. I just started to film this. I did these in a rush this morning before work, and I stuck them out on the balcony, on the windows ledge to dry, and they have dried really fast. You can see that it is a beautiful day out here, and the wind has just picked up, which is also going to help, though it's blowing lots of stuff around inside room 13. So yeah, I think they're done. So in a minute I'm going to pull these in from the balcony, and then we're going to have a look. Oh, there's a fly. Let that fly out. Out he goes. Yeah, pull these in, have a look at them, get some pictures. Yeah, really happy. Well, this is something that has not happened for a very, very long time. I ran the printer. How about that? So yeah, I don't know how well it's gone. I'm going to take them out now and have a look, and clean up and tidy up, and yeah, then we'll get these stuck together, glued together, primed and painted, and hopefully I'll do quite well in the challenge. So this is a challenge for the Kickstarter that's going on at the moment, for Dungeons and Dreadnoughts, and it's just a fun little challenge. There's a free model on the Kickstarter page, which is what this is. You can download, and I've printed it because I thought I'd give it a go. Don't expect to win, obviously. I'm a terrible painter, but I'm going to have fun with it. So yeah, let's have a look, see how well these are printed, and if any of them have failed. Well, there we are. I think everything printed fine. The only difference I can find, I printed it twice, as I've said. The only difference I can find is I've got this piece here on this one, but it doesn't seem to be on the one this is the one that was actually printed out that came from Sean, and this is the this is the original, and this is the one that I copied and spread out a bit more on the base. And I'm not entirely sure whether I've not accidentally printed like 4 things together here. I don't know. So what we're going to do, I'm going to let that dry. I've got it set out on my garish green towel, and let that dry overnight, and then tomorrow morning I'll put them into cure, and I'll keep them separate at all times, and I'll then bring you along when I come to do the assembly. The thing that didn't print were the bases, and I knew they wouldn't print. I was an idiot. I know better than to try to print them how I did. That was entirely my fault in terms of the support and how I positioned them on the tray, so on the build plate. So never mind, but everything else seems to have printed right. I'm not entirely sure how many of these I'm going to be able to get. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 even, who knows. I might be able to get 4 by just printing out a very small amount, like a couple more heads, because it seems like we've got separate bodies here and a combined body here. Anyway, can let that all dry overnight, and then I'll cure it tomorrow, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're putting it together. Right, let's have a look and see how well this is stuck down. So I had this on the tray, on this little tray thing, just because I put it on the floor out of the way. First time for a long time I've had so much going on that I've had to move things to the floor. But yeah, that's stuck on right. I think that's going to be perfect. So let's have a quick look at the whole thing stacked together and see how that looks. So that's the first floor. I'm going to need to do something to make it not slippery. So there's some little tabs here. What I'm going to need to do is measure or mark somehow and put little holes in the bottom of the cardboard for those tabs to fit into, and then it won't move around. So then we have the next one, which does, as you can see, slot into those tabs, and then we have the top. So if I can just get that sorted, let me move the camera up and back a little bit so you can see the whole thing a bit better. There we are. So yes, if I can just get this slidiness sorted, which shouldn't be too difficult, as I say, I can either use the existing tabs or cut those tabs off and put some new tabs on that will be a little bit more solid. We'll have to think about that. But once I've sorted that out, that is going to be a lot better. Each floor is playable, so you can go inside that one You can go inside that one now, and obviously we've got a little bit more texture inside the bottom as well. I need to do a approximation of this of the access, but that I can do that next. I probably will do something will look a little bit like this, but I probably won't do it exactly like that. I'll do something a bit different but similar. So yeah, I'm gonna have a think about this tab. I'm gonna think about the I can't remember what they're called. Brain's dead, very tired, late night. Yeah, so I'm going to work on that, and then once I've got that, then it'll be painting. I thought I was ready for painting days ago, but it turns out I'm not. That turned out to be super easy. I just press down, and what that's done is it's put some little divots in here. So what I'll do now is cut those very slightly, and yeah, that should sort it. The other thing I've noticed, actually, just having done that, is there's holes inside, and so I could possibly even, I think those holes match up with these. So if I just cut through those holes from either side now, that should no longer slide, which is pretty cool. Very happy. So yeah, I'll get that done, and then I'll bring you along for when I start to do the painting. I did say I was going to think about base coating these brown. I might still do that, I'm not totally sure. Probably use an aerosol to do that, and then work up from there to greys and lighter greys and whites and what have you, and some washes. I'm really keen to get this looking pretty awesome. I want to put some effort into this, so I might do some practice on one of them. So maybe practice on this one, just to see how good I can get it while I'm continuing to work on the rest. Anyway, enough nattering. I'll bring you back for the painting. Right then, so slightly delayed for various exciting reasons, but it's Wednesday today. It's Wednesday morning. Rosie has the day off because it's a national holiday, and so we're going to have a quick game because we missed out on Sunday for, as I say.
Because I was a little bit too sick.
Yeah, and also because I broke Mummy's car. So yeah, that but I've spoken the entire Sunday. So we're starting. I know you can't believe it, love. They're starting the second adventure in this campaign, which is called Expert Treasure Hunters. And so yeah, so we have our stuff which Bilbo gave us, and Bilbo is joining us. So I'll play him as an NPC. Bilbo is joining us on this session. So yeah, it's going to be a fun little session. I've got some ideas for some new techniques. And are you excited?
Are we going right here?
Rosie is very excited. Shush, shush, shush. She is very excited to go to the Bindale Wood. However, I've told Barley Wood or whatever. I've told her that there's some monsters in there, so she may not want to. But we shall see whether we do that in the course of this adventure. But not initially, no. Maybe later. Anyway, we'll report back at the end of the session. What do you say? Rosie's got to go. What do you say to the camera, Roo?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was a really fun session. I enjoyed it as the GM. Did you enjoy it? Yeah. Rosie, did you enjoy it?
Yes.
And what have you got to show to the camera?
My stuff.
Rosie got a sword at the circus this week. Right, so what we did is we travelled. We just did the travelling from Hobbiton to Oak Barton. So we just did the journey, and it was really good fun. We did the travelling rolls, which worked really well. You rolled very well, didn't you, Rosie?
Yeah, well, we see Gandalf.
We saw Gandalf again because Rosie rolled you find a shortcut, and on a directly straight road there is no way of getting a shortcut. So we had Gandalf give us a lift in his cart again, which was awesome. And also, what happened at the pub, Rosie? Do you remember?
No.
Well, we were being questioned by the local gossip, and Rosie riddled her a riddle and told her a very believable story, but that wasn't true, and managed to persuade her, which was very good going, wasn't it? Do you remember that now?
Yeah.
Your riddling was very good. So yeah, we have reached Oak Barton, which means next session we'll start the actual kind of like investigation, trying to find Bulrora-Took's what's it. But for now, what have we got to say to the camera?
Bye.
We will return hopefully on Sunday and have another session. That was really good fun though. Really nice to get some other little parts of it going and see how that works. Right, see you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Oh, they all printed right, actually. Everything was good. And I even worked out what this part here was. Basically, when I copied the... when I copied all of the elements that came in the original list file, I didn't split out 3 of them, so that's 3 things printed into one. So it's actually that part, and that part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run another print today, which is going to have the base on it, and I'm also going to print off just some more of the parts. I'm not printing off the body, just all the parts and the heads and what have you, because then I might be able to make, I think, 3 or 4 of these up, and that will give me something to really aim at with the painting, and maybe come up with some crazy creative ideas for how I can actually do this challenge. But yeah, that made me giggle a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to start the print off in a second. These are cured now, so I'll have a look and see how they're going to go together, and then yeah, I'll bring you back once I've got a little bit more of an idea, and probably once all the other parts have been printed, and when I'm going to start to assemble the first one of these, I will, or maybe the second one, once I've assembled one, I'm going to bring along and show you how to put it together, because yeah, you might want to go yourself and get this free model, print it, and enter the competition also. So get it done if you're interested, and then go for it. So yeah, but I'm really happy. Just hadn't printed for ages, and first time it seemed to work. Let's see if my second print can work just as well. I realised a couple of things just as I came to do the final steps as well. I seem to be continually finding extra bits to do. Firstly, I hadn't painted the motif here, which I've painted now, and I've also done that on the inside. And also I'd missed actually a couple of the wooden beams on this upper level. So I'd missed the corner beams here and the corner beam over there, so I've had to clamp those in. And then these side panels have actually also managed to miss out on the wooden beams as there. So you can see that on this one I've done one of the top ones, and then I've realised I've missed the side beams, so I'm going to have to wait for these to dry before I can do this side, and the extra ones I'm going to have to do on the other side. So that's a bit annoying, but I'm glad I caught it, because as you can see here, I'd got my grout out and I was about to mix it, and then I realised. So yeah, I'll finish that, get them painted to match the rest of the wood, and then we'll be able to move on and start to fill in the middle bits with the texture, and that will be pretty much the last step for this. And what I now need to do with my Super Pro pan, I also need to get these roof panels onto the roof, and as you can see, I've now painted up the little detail on top of the roof. And the other thing that I did that I realised was I've painted, I haven't finished painting actually, I need to do some more, I need to paint the wood, so that's going to go back downstairs now. But I've painted the little motifs on there as well, but I still need to paint the wood, and on this end as well. Anyway, little bits of tidying up, very nearly done, and then I'll be able to get onto the grouting, which is what I'm most excited about. Right, so it's time to start working on my grout mix. So I've just mixed them up, and there's video linked in every single one of my videos below of how I do my grout mix, but simply put, it's 50% grout and very fine sand or gravel, very fine though, mixed up with a load of PVA and a little tiny bit of water, and that then is easy to apply using a brush. And I'm not going to film very much of this because this is not a very nice angle to be working at, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this round and spread this all over everywhere where I've not already applied either the balsa wood wood planking, and I'm going to even try to avoid that blue around these windows if I possibly can. So yeah, so I'm not going to film very much because it's really awkward trying to do this and keep it in shot, but yeah, that's the plan, and that will then give a texture, and I will then be able to potentially dry brush over the top of it if I want to give the final tone. But yeah, here we go. Might take 2 coats as well. I'll report back. I'll probably come back when I've done 1 coat and show what it looks like, but that's the trick. So that spread all over here, and that is something that this is a mix or a material that I use for almost all of my MDF buildings, because you can buy grout in all sorts of colours and get any effect you're really looking for, and it works really well. It's almost like the secret trick I've got, which is use this grout mix on your MDF models. And ultimately you could have just done that on this. We could have got rid of all of the wood detail, just slapped the grout mix over the entire thing, and it would look really good, but it would have been what I was wanting to do. So yeah, you really can just cover any MDF model with this stuff. It sticks really well. Well, as you can see, I've assembled 2 of these almost completely, and I've done that with basically all but a little bit of the parts from just one of the print of one of the list file which is supplied. So if you want to make 2 of these and you don't want to print out way too much, which I have done, what you need to do is you just need to duplicate the shoulder pads, which is that. And unfortunately I've only got one of these. I'm actually going to have to print one on its own because the other one got combined in with that conglomerate that I did by accident. So you need to duplicate your shoulder pads and duplicate the head and duplicate the backpack. So that's all you'll need to do, which I need to glue on the back here. That's all you need to do to duplicate. The only parts you need to duplicate will be the backpack, the head and the shoulder pads, because what you get in the base thing is you get a combined body joined together, you get a separated body which you have to glue together, and you get loads and loads of arms and what have you, but you only get 1 backpack, 2 shoulder pads and 1 head. So yeah, just thought I'd show that. I'm not going to bother showing gluing it together because it's super duper easy, you won't have any trouble. The only thing I will show is the that's how the torso sticks onto the legs. But again, if you can't work that out, then I'm not sure what to say to you. And and the other thing is, I wasn't totally sure how the backpack went on, so I've chosen to put it this way around, which might be wrong, don't know, don't care. So yeah, I've done it with the detail on the outside because make it more interesting to paint. So anyway, so downstairs I've got my bases printed and cured. So they printed out the second time when I put them at the correct angle. But of course, what I'm going to need to do, I actually printed 2 bases. So I'm going to need to print 2 more bases because I'm going to end up with 4 because I've got the parts to complete these 2 as well. And I'm also going to need to print out another one of these shoulder pads, like I say, because the one shoulder pad is missing. It was in that conglomerate that I printed by mistake, but I've got enough parts for everything else to complete all of these 4. So what I'll do is I'll get these finished, get that printed and get these stuck on the base, primed and painted, and I'll bring you along for that journey because yeah, I've got some quite good ideas for these. I've gone for different poses. This is nice. I've got 2 different poses, as you can see. One guy running forwards shooting, oh not in shot, sorry, one guy running forwards shooting, and one guy running forwards not yet shooting. So I'm thinking of some quite cool ideas for how I might do this and enter it in the contest. But anyway, onwards. So I'm a little disappointed and a little conflicted on this one. The grout that I picked out, I've got several colours of grout. I actually picked out the darker grout. I didn't want it this colour, I wanted it to be a lighter cream. Yeah, so it's a little bit dark, and I'm wondering if it's a bit dark across the board. So I've got 2 options I've got for here. I could apply the lighter grout over the top, which would give a little bit more texture, a little bit more depth, and might look quite nice. Or I could come along with one of my paints, which is similar to the colour I'm looking for. So I've got these little tester pots. Actually, that one's slightly open. Hopefully that's not solidified. Oh no, I didn't close the pot properly. And look at that. It's crackle paste. Ah, well, that's a shame because that was the one I wanted. The other one I've got is that one, which I know does work because I only just used it very recently. So what I could do is I could come along, mix that one back up, and paint that on. So I'm going to stare at that for half a day. I'm not in a major rush, yeah, I'm going to decide what to do with the colour. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the roof. So the roof is on fire. No, the roofing sections are too long. They are not good. So I don't know if I've made a mistake. I'm not sure if I have. I'm not sure how I could have done. But basically what I'm having to do is on these ones which are going to be covered anyway, I'm going to start cutting them in the middle. Because if we have a look here, you can see it's wavy. And that's because I've had to bend and force and push to get them in. And these 2 before I realised what was happening. So on this one, what I've done is I've come along. Let's see if I can actually show you. If we started off here, by this point they're not lining up. So what I'm having to do is trim a few millimeters off on the inside of each of those slots, and that's what I've done on this one, which has made it join correctly. So it's one of the 2 that you want to do. You either want to make these slots slightly larger. Now it's not the end of the world because they're not going to be visible, so don't worry. Or for this side, maybe slightly easier is just to cut it in the middle, and that way it will it'll sit flat and flush, and also be easier to glue. So yeah, progress, getting there, nearly done, pretty excited. So we've got before and we've got after, and I'm so much happier with that colour now. It's just too dark, too dingy. It looks like it's been left in a smoker's house, frankly. It's not the best, but this is just much more what I was thinking. So that was basically doing the grout mix over the top of what I'd done there. So I didn't have time to do two. I had a very few minutes, so I managed to get one done. And I thought, you know what, I'll let that dry just so I can see how it looks, and I'm very happy. So I'm going to do the rest of that one now, and keep working on the roof, and then I'll be pretty much there, which is cool. I should finish this, if not tonight, then tomorrow, which I'm very pleased about. Alright, so Voth and Homunculus are primed and ready to go. So I'm going to spend a bit of time this evening putting some paint on these. I've been looking for some art to, because I like to get inspiration from, normally from cover art. That's how I like to paint my stuff. But there isn't very much out there, so I'm just going to give it a go. I found some pictures, a few pictures online on Beasts of War, which are giving me some inspiration, but there's not very much out there. So I'm just going to go for it and see how I feel. I'm going to start off with Voth, and then Homunculus will be done afterwards, which I think will be a little bit easier than Voth. So I'm going to give Voth a go. So let's see what I can do this evening, get a few colours down, and hopefully I can get them looking awesome. Well, that was quite a fun session. I painted these and also a few other bits and pieces that are on my bench, but mostly these. It's basically dark Prussian blue for the blue, fire orange for the orange, and I think it was yellow ochre for the yellow, and then his hat is canvas. So that's basically it, and also a bit of skin colour in there, which will need a little bit more work. And then golden yellow for the deep yellow, sorry, for the for Homunculus, and I believe it was deck tan that I've started up on with his skin. So yeah, a lot of fun. Really cool models, as all of the Moonstone models are. Easy to paint, as all of the Moonstone models are. They're well detailed, but they're not so detailed that they're annoying. And there's some models, I'm looking at you, Forge World, that are so detailed that you just can't even begin to paint them, because yeah, there's almost no way of applying the paint cleanly because of all the indentations and everything. But these are just on the right point where they've got lots and lots of detail, but they're not so detailed that they're annoying. So yeah, I think maybe another two sessions will get this done. So I'll bring you along for the next one, show you how it goes, show what it'll look like at the end of the next session, and maybe one more after that, I think. I get to the final assembly parts now. I just thought I'd show you how they have done this at the back. So I left a gap when I did my did my grout mixture, which these stairs fit into perfectly. Excuse me, bit of a frog. But what I am going to have to do is touch up here and what have you with some more grout, because yeah, there is a little bit visible which hasn't been grouted. So I'll get that glued on, let that dry. I kept the grout in the fridge, so it should be okay overnight. Yeah, that will then be that done. The other things I've done is I've put these little covers on over here, the whatever they are, over the top of the windows, and I'm now starting to wish that I'd put some magnets on these, because if we look at the window, and I've mentioned this before, if we look at the window, it looks great with those in there. They look really nice, but you don't only want to have shut windows. So I'm umming and ahhing again. I'm still umming and ahhing about what I'm going to do about this, whether I'm going to put the windows in or not. I can't, I've had a look at the dimensions. I can't cut those out and stick them in. The actual shutters are done smaller than the window size, so that would, and I haven't really got the time now to carefully carve around these and put them in place like that, so I could potentially wedge them in place. That's not going to work. So I'm wondering if there might be a way I can, I can't do the magnets now because I won't be able to drill in because it's all assembled. That would be something you would have to do while this piece, all these pieces were still flat. You'd have to get all your magnets in. So yeah, that's not possible now, which is a shame. Like I say, doing this again, I might do that. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna have a think about if there's a way I can maybe build a shelf inside for it to sit on. I'm thinking that might be a little bit of a pain as well. Yeah, getting close to the end of this build. This is the last thing I need to do. I've got the weathercock on the top of the roof, so that is perfect. If that will focus in, my camera's a bit zoomed. Let's zoom out a bit. There we are, weathercock on. So yeah, that's now near enough done. I might need to touch up the paint a little bit on it, but yeah, so I just need to decide on these windows and the door what I'm going to do with them. So yeah, I will show you what I've done and then we'll wrap up. Well, I've decided to take this to the next level now, and what I've done is I've got some of these resources, some of these pictures, put them into Word and stuck a frame around them and printed them out. And what I'm now going to do is cut them out and put them up as paintings and pictures inside the house. So we've got the map of Tauber, we've got a portrait of the Baron, we've got another portrait of the Baron, we've got the Baron fighting here in this round one, and a couple of other bits and pieces that I liked quite a lot. So there's a backdrop, just a nice painting of Tauber. So yeah, so I will get these cut out now. Just going to use a safety ruler and a very sharp knife to cut all these out, and then get them stuck inside using a glue stick. And then once that's in, I will then varnish over them with gloss varnish so they look like they're behind glass. So that's my plan. Hopefully it'll work. I think it will, and it will really add an extra bit of bling to the inside of this building. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to varnish over all of the pictures, posters with my Liquitex acrylic matte varnish. So I'll just pop a little bit of that onto my plate. Give it a good shake. Again, I did shake it before, but let's shake it again. Put a bit onto my plate, and then with my brush, we'll just varnish over the top of each of these, and that will just help to keep them in place and make it less likely that they're going to get knocked or rubbed off when this is being moved around or in game or whatever. So it won't take very long to do this, as you can see, and it'll basically going to be the finishing touches on the actual building, and then all I'll have left to do is the base, which I'll do once this is done dry. So there we are. Pretty cool. Pretty happy with this, and glad that I have this matte varnish. I'd forgotten I had it, and then I suddenly saw it, so I was about to order some. And that would have been a big waste, eh? So yeah, I'll get that done over all of the pictures and bring you back when I come to doing the base. Now that I've all but finished Fancy Hat's townhouse, I'm going to make Captain Bamboozle's Wizard Tower. Now I'm not entirely sure whether this is actually officially, or used to be officially for Moonstone or not, but it's a pretty Moonstone style building, I think, so I think this will suit. So we're going to get this out of its plastic wrapping and have a look at the sprues. As with all of these TTCombat buildings, they do not have the instructions printed. They save paper and ink and put them on their website, so you can just basically have that open and refer to that when you need to. The instructions aren't the best. There are better instructions from other companies, but they're good enough, so you should be able to get this build. Now, the same as for Fancy Hats, I'm not going to focus too much on the build of this, because, as I say, there are instructions online, so you shouldn't really need to need to worry about it too much. However, if there's anything that I come across that I feel is a little bit confusing, or maybe that my additional input might help, then I will definitely bring you along for that and talk through any kind of like problem points that I come across. And I'm going to push the boat on this one as well, same as I did for Fancy Hat. I'm going to see whether I can make this really nice, use a few different techniques to that which I used on Fancy Hat's townhouse. But yeah, let's see what this looks like when it's built. So I'm going to go and get those instructions and get started. And like I say, I'll bring you along for pimping, and if there's any kind of confusion in how you actually do the assembly. So right away, I'm at some pimping stages. What I'm going to do is I'm going to seal the floor here with watered down PVA, because I'm going to need to paint that motif before I put the walls on. And I'm also, here's the walls that go on, I'm also going to paint with PVA the inside walls. So this will just act to seal it. So when I come along with my paint, the PVA will have sealed the MDF, and that will mean that the paint applies much better, doesn't soak in, and gets a better coverage. So I'm going to basically work through all of this. I think I'm going to need to be doing a lot of painting, potentially even on the sprue, but I don't normally do that, mainly because finding the parts is difficult. But yeah, so I'm going to work out which bits need to be painted and which bits don't, and get them all painted up like this, and get them all painted with colours. I'm saying paint a lot. And once all of the insides are done, I will then be able to start assembling this, and then I'll be able to do the exterior, and I've got an idea of how that's going to go as well. So the next things that are going to need to be done, sealed, are these 3 sections, which go there, there, there and there. So I need to have one without a step, I think, and then 1, 2, 3, and I'll need to have several more which are from here, which will go around the outside, and that is the walls for the first part of the tower. So what I'll do is seal those now, and I'm going to do this so that the tower can be taken apart, and I might put floors in and what have you, not totally sure, but yeah, the way that it's designed, I think that this all is supposed to be one piece, but for now I'm going to think about making it so that I think at least the top floor can be taken off, but I'm still going to act as if I'm going to paint the insides, because I might do it so that every floor can be taken off, but we shall see. Bit rambly, bit confused, making some plans. Let's get on. I'll show you what it looks like when I get to the next stage. So how I'm going to do these walls is get some masking tape, mask off, and I'm going to do them striped purple and yellow, because it's a wizard's tower, and wizards have awesome style sense, obviously. So once these purple bits are dried, obviously what I'll do is I'll put some masking tape over the top of the purple strips, take the other ones off, and then paint them with this bright yellow. So it's quite a simple technique. The end ones are very easy. Just put one up against each of the little notches, and then one dead down the middle. And then the upright, the wall one here, what I'm doing is starting off at one end like this, and then what I'm actually doing on this one is putting a strip next to each other all the way across like this. So there we are. And what I'll do now is I will remove some of these strips. So I've got the distance correct, and what I can now do is make use of these ones to mask off here. So there we are. That's how I'm working it. So I'll get this all painted up, and then I'll have a think about how I'm going to do the walls of the inside of the tower. Sorry, another frog in my throat there. And I'm thinking these, because they are done panel to panel, I might be able to just paint the panels. But I'll need to make sure that I get everyone correct that I want, so get the correct ones out for this first section, and then the correct ones out for the second one. So yeah, that's that's what I'm doing. Now this is actually going to be not very much painting because I don't want to paint the back of the door, obviously. So I just need to paint up to the door at the top like that. Nice and simple. Right, I'll finish this off. I'll bring you back, let you see what these look like, and also let you see what I've decided to do about the tower walls. Well, there we are. We've finished Baron Fancy Hat's house, and yeah, pretty pleased with how that's turned out. So you can see that I've put on the little things that go on underneath the roof, and they look absolutely wonderful with the blue painted wood, and I've put that on each end. We've got the little kind of lawn ornament here, and I did decide to put the windows on because I just think it looks better with the windows. It's a shame for playability, but you can always say I open the window and then kind of go from there, I suppose. But it is a bit of a shame, but the whole thing's looking brilliant. The steps on the back are great. I'm really pleased with the texture and the colours. Pretty happy with how it's turned out all around, to be honest. So if we start to go inside, take the roof off, what you can see is I have put these pictures on, as I say. So these are the artworks that I printed out with a frame, and they look absolutely brilliant. They really do just set off the interior really nicely, make it look a little bit more lived in. Really happy with how the floors are looking as well. And then if we go down to the bottom level, you can see that we've got even more pictures down there. Obviously, the first thing you see as you come in through the front door is the Baron looking very sharp and very handsome and very dashing, which is what he'd want you to see. We've got the map of Tauber, and then just a nice picture of the local area there. And then on this wall, we've got some more pictures as well. So yeah, I really hope that you've enjoyed that. I've really enjoyed this build. It's been really fun pushing the boundaries and just trying to do things as beautifully as I can. And I think the thing that I'm most impressed with, if I say so myself, is the floor and that motif and those sorts of things. I think I really did nail the floor very, very well. What do you like best? Let me know. It would be awesome to hear what you think is the most inspirational or awesome thing in this build. And if there's anything you would do differently or you think I've done wrong. I love all comments. I don't mind negative comments, positive comments. I love them all. So yeah, let me know what you think. It'll be awesome to read your thoughts. So there we are. That's done. I can have another building for my hopefully coming soon Moonstone game, but we shall find out when that is. But yeah, this is now done, and I can move on to the next one. Well, I've just had another enjoyable hour or so on these, and I'm not far off done on the base colours. Pretty pleased. This evening I've used royal purple and blue violet and flat red. That's what I've done. Here's a little kind of apron in. And then bronze and gunmetal grey for the metallic stuff. And royal purple and bronze over here. And actually a wash of it was US Field Drab that I put on the skin just to kind of make that a little bit darker. And then ivory for the book. If I just turn that around, that's done in ivory. And I've also done his fingernails in ivory, and then silver grey for his beard. And there may have been some other colours as well, but I can't remember. But I'm really, really pleased with it. It's really, really cool. I think there'll probably be another couple of evenings. One of the things I have done this evening is painted the stars on his coat, which has come out very well. Very pleased with that. Anyway, fun. And yeah, I'll bring you along for the next step of these when I get to it, which will probably be tomorrow. Right, so the moment of truth. Rosie is going to pick which of these buildings she wants on her model railway. So which one would you like? This is the one that I made, and this is one that I bought. And you can have whichever one you want. I don't mind which one you pick, darling. Which one do you want?
Well, which one do you really like?
Well, I like them both. I mean, I like this one because I made it. So this is cool. Look, I've got an interior. I've made a little thing. And this one you can't take the roof off. This one is solid. This one you can look inside, and that one you can't.
Well, I like to get this one.
You want that one? Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll have that one. What do you say to the camera? Do you want to show the camera your tattoo?
Hello.
Rosie, right, hold it there. Rosie's got a Paw Patrol fake tattoo. There it is, that focused. She's very proud of. Right, say bye-bye to the camera.
Bye-bye.
Look at the camera when you say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're so excited by your tattoo. Right, so I'm here with Rosie in the workshop, and what we've got, a couple of weeks ago we went out and we collected loads of pine cones. You'd already collected loads, hadn't you, darling? You love picking up pine cones. And what we're going to do, this is going to be making some Christmas decorations. So the first thing, yes, you've got your tattoo, good stuff. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to make a little spray painting booth, because it's really bad weather today, and I'd normally do this outside, but we can't get outside. So let me just get the camera set up. We'll take your mask off, and because we're not going to be painting just yet, but Rosie's got a mask, because what we're going to do is we're going to first of all spray paint these cones black.
And they're very stinky.
It's very stinky. So, but the first thing we need to do is make a little box painting booth. So let's get the camera set up, get ready, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So what I've got here is just an old box that I'd already flattened to shred, but I pulled it out the shredder. And what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do, Rosie's going to help me with this. If you can just hold this, put your hand there. What I'm going to do, it's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to...
That's what I mean to do with my ring.
Well done. Yeah, but your ring won't be fixed with sellotape, unfortunately. So what we're going to do, we're just going to tape it back up on the bottom, like so. Well done, Rosie. So that's the first thing we're going to do. And then on the other side, just get this all cut and get the nasty noises out of the way. There we are, so we've put the box back together, and then what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the top and side flaps, because then we'll be able to put our stuff inside here and we won't get any spray on my nice worktop. And that is how I am planning on making a little spray painting booth. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
You like it, Roo?
Yeah.
Right, so you love it. Right, so I'm going to get that cut out and then we'll get ourselves spray painting. Okay, we have a big box of cones. Do you want to pick the first cone we're going to paint, Roo? I thought you might pick that one, so let's move that out of the way. So, just to say, what I did was I changed my mind a little bit. I actually have left the wings and the floor on just to give it a little bit more light and coverage, so we can place the cone there. What we're now going to do, Rosie, shall I show you how you do this?
No.
Can you see at the front of that? No, I'm not going to press it. I'm not going to press it. You see at the front of that, there's a little hole? That's where it comes out, so don't point that towards yourself or me. Point that here, and I'll show you how it works. So what you do is you press it, and paint comes out. Do you see that? So what we're looking at doing is pressing it and getting it onto the cone. Do you want to have a go? Use this hand. Use this hand. I'll hold it for you, and then press it with your thumb as hard as you can. That's it. Good girl. How about that? And then it's stinky, isn't it? That's why you've got your mask on. Do you want to do a bit more? Press it as hard as you can on the top. Press, press. Press. Oh, it's blowing away. Right, stop.
Now you do it.
Right, is it too much for you? Very stinky. This is why I do this outside normally. You need that mask on. So can you see how I do it? With very short sprays. It's probably not very easy for you to do that, to be honest. Right, we're going to get Rosie out of here because it's very stinky, and I'll do the rest. And then when we come to do the, put it on your mouth properly. When we come to do the sparkly colours, you can help. You're going to, okay, well, we'll see. But anyway, that's what we're doing. So we've got a nice spray booth, which is going to prevent the overspray. And we're going to get through and we're going to spray paint all of these. And the next thing, once we've got them all sprayed and painted back, what colours did you want, Rosie?
I want a pink, red, orange.
And what colours are we doing? Gold and silver. That's what we're doing. Gold and silver. Right, hop up and say bye-bye to the camera.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's my thing.
There, your awesome tattoo, yes. Well, that is a lot of pine cones. I'm just finished, and I ended up getting myself a glove and holding them. Horrible overspray, but that's done. So I actually think that I haven't got enough of the gold and silver sparkly spray, so I'm going to have to go back to the shop tomorrow, pick some more up. But my little spray thing worked really, really well, as you can see. And yeah, I'll leave that there, and then tomorrow maybe we'll get the silver and the gold, or maybe next week I might have to, as I said, might have to go and get some more of the silver and gold spray, because that finished up one big can of black and nearly got halfway through another one as well. So yeah, I might need more. Anyway, wouldn't let Rosie continue. It was way too stinky. She really wanted to, but no, it's not good enough. I really wished I could have done this outside, but we've had one of the biggest storms of the year. And it's been absolutely horrendous outside. Like, we've even had water coming in through the drains of our windows, and running around with towels and mopping up water coming through the walls. So yeah, we couldn't really work outside on this. But maybe next week we can work outside when we're doing the silver and the gold, and then Rosie can be a little bit more involved because it won't be quite so stinky. But anyway, I'm going to take this glove off, and yeah, cool. Oh, here we are. I've just finished painting up all of these mounted warriors and mounted cowboys even, and I have had some fun with these. This has been really good, getting back on my painting bench, and yeah, pretty pleased with how they turned out. I still got to base them, which I'll go and do very shortly, not tonight. I'm going to let them dry overnight, probably do that tomorrow, but that's really cool to have got those done. Yeah, I'm tired now. It's later than I expected. I've just been sat here listening to the Wild West Extravaganza, which I absolutely love. If you haven't found that yet, go and listen to Josh. His channel is a goldmine of awesome, and his style is beyond belief, and I'm massively addicted to him now. But yeah, so I've just been sat here listening to a bunch of his podcasts, a bunch of his episodes, and painting, and I'm absolutely tired now, so I'm going to go. But yeah, so I'll be basing these tomorrow, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. And wow, I'm loving the sculpts, I can tell you. Well, I've finished painting Voth and Homunculus, and I'm pretty pleased with that. Just had to do the washes and then paint the base. Going to finish off the basing, and then they'll be done completely. They've been a lot of fun. Brilliant sculpts. Really easy to paint. I mean, the Goblin King games just have made a fantastic game, and they've also made fantastic sculpts that are super detailed, but they're not difficult. I think I said it before in a previous clip. Some companies make super detailed sculpts and then they're just horrible to paint because they're just difficult. These ones are not that. So yeah, top marks there. Top marks to the guys and girls over there. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I'm going to finish the basing. I'll bring you along for that, show you what that looks like, and then these ones are done and they can go in the box and hopefully be used at some point. Well, I've had a few deliveries today, well, one delivery with a few items in it, so I thought I'd quickly show what I've got. So first of all, I ordered some more of the base ready arid grasslands, because I really like using that for my cowboys, and as you're going to see, I've got a lot of those to go through, so that's one thing. So I've got 5 bags of that, which I'll transfer into I'll transfer what I can into my little jar, and the rest can go up into the storage. Talking to cowboys, I went to War Games Foundry and went a bit nuts, and I have a huge quantities here which I will be painting up in the coming weeks. I hope to get these done all of these done this year. So just to give you an idea of what I've ordered, got the Plains Indians, Young Bloods, Geronimo's Apaches War Band, 2 different sets of Apaches, Mexican Villagers, Town Traders, Lawmen, the Good, the Bad and the Ugly, oh yes, High Times at Rendezvous, Trappers Pack Train, Bloody Bill Anderson with Murderous Companions, William Clark Quantrill and his henchmen, Frank and Cole with their disreputable associates is not highlighted, so I did find out why that is. Jesse James and his nefarious pals, William Clark Quantrill and Dan Henley. I wonder why Frank Cole isn't there. Bloody Bill Anderson and Frank Shepherd and the Hangman. So that's all in there, hopefully. I'll find out why OW052 isn't, or why it isn't highlighted in a minute. So that's cool. That was really nice to receive that. It was a nice surprise to open it. And then over here we have an order from Tabletop Scenics. So we've got some Wild West scatter terrain, so some I just thought was quite cool, and a whole load of come on, what are they? It's gone from me, but yeah, you can see what they are. Someone put in the comments why my brain's gone bad. I'm tired, it's late. But yeah, you bury people in them. I can't believe I forgot the word for it. That's terrible, isn't it? So that's actually not Wild West based. This is the other Wild West based thing. I just saw this and I thought it's really cool. It wasn't hugely expensive. So it's a it's 2 buildings on one base, one that's 3 floors. I don't have many that are 3 floors, a couple more bits of scattered terrain. So that will definitely be coming out and being built at some point. Now moving on from Wild West, I'm on a big kick at the moment of making stuff for Moonstone, and this is the other Moonstone specific thing from Tabletop Scenics, TTCombat, which they have in their store, and I didn't own yet, so I bought that, and that will definitely be happening in the coming weeks because I'm working on the Wizard's Tower, as you'll have seen in this vlog, and this will be the building I'll start after I finish the Wizard's Tower. And last but very much not least, let's just get into this. This is a Kickstarter. This is a solo role-playing game called Colossal, which I absolutely love, and this is the 2nd expansion. And the sad thing is I haven't played it for ages. I was really enjoying it. I was writing a blog and getting this. Maybe I'll try to at least once a week play a little bit of this, and I'll link to the blog in the blog that I've written up till now. I'll link to that in this vlog, and maybe I'll try and get some more games going and get a little bit more of that on the vlog because it's brilliant. It's a guy. He did a Kickstarter. It was superbly successful. He now runs a Discord, which is awesome, and has a really good Patreon where he releases stuff monthly, and then every now and then what he does is he basically combines everything he's done for the Discord, for the Patreon, and puts it into a book, and that's what this is. So yeah, let's get that new book smell. Let's see how good it is. Not brilliant. Not brilliant. That's a shame. But it's all about what the book's got in it rather than what it smells like, isn't it? So there we are. Those are the things that have arrived, hobby related. A couple of Christmas presents as well, but you don't need to see those. So yeah, cool. Some of this is going to come to the channel very quickly, some of it not. But yeah, there we are. So I've primed these with chocolate brown, and I'm really, really happy with it actually. I think that's going to be a really good base for what I'm trying to do with painting these. So what I'm going to do actually is pause now in the painting because I'm happy with that base colour, and what I need to do is make one of these inside there. So that's the next thing I'm going to do, and then I'll paint everything with the chocolate brown, and then I'll bring you along while I'm doing the dry brushing and adding the details. Now one thing that I have noticed, where is it, that one, that joint has come unglued. Notice that when I was painting it, so I'm going to just put a little bit more glue in there, and that will then be secure. So that's the next thing to do really, and then I'm going to make the trapdoor, and we'll stick that in there, and then we can get to painting. Very, very cool. So there we are. As you can see, a really productive week. And for my painting challenge so far, I've finished 19 miniatures since I set the challenge, which is when I'm counting from. And I've obviously, as you've seen in this post, I've got 2 Voth and Homunculus very close, just a tiny bit of basing needed to be done on those now. And then the 6 mounted troops for mounted outlaw faction troops. So that's another 8. And then, as I say in the background, I've also really progressed, and I'm very close to finishing the first set of French faction troops. And so yeah, I'm pretty close to nearly doubling that number probably early next week, which is really awesome, and I'm going to try to keep this momentum going. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and hopefully a lot of you out there are also finding it so inspiring and getting a bit of a kick on into the end of the year. So thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you've left a comment, if you haven't yet, leave one down below. If you don't want to, that's fine. Thanks for watching, but I do love all those comments. They really do inspire me, so thank you if you have. I really appreciate them. I'll wrap up by saying, as I always do in my vlogs, if any of you are impacted by the horrific wars in Israel and in the Ukraine, my thoughts do go out to you and to anyone you know who may be in that horrible situation. I know several people, which is why I say this, and I think about them every time I say this on my vlogs. So yeah, this is personal to me as well. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.